Hey guys, and welcome to my TBR and my reading plans for the month of September. I have one readathon I'm planning on participating in, and then I have a few books that have been sent to me that I would like to get to, and then the rest is kind of just going to be mood reading. Like, I'll give you guys an idea of some of the books that I'm thinking about I might want to pick up for the month of September, but you know, this could change definitely throughout the month. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to stick with this, but so far I've been pretty good at sticking with my TBRs for the most part for the year, so I have a good feeling that I'll be able to get to most of these. It's likely that I may end up going back to work in September, so I may not get to as many of these as I would like to, but we'll just see what happens. So first I will tell you my TBR for the final Buzzwordathon that is hosted by Kayla at Books and Lala. The buzzword for this round is the word night, and so basically for a whole week everybody is going to be reading books that they own or that they want to read that have the word night in them. I looked through my TBR shelves and I came up with 6 different books that have the word night in it, so it's like perfect amount of books for a readathon for that takes place over a week. A couple of these are kind of long, so I'm not sure exactly how many I'm going to get to, especially because it's the 21st through the 27th, so it's highly likely that I'll be back in work by then, but we'll see. One of these ended up working out perfectly because it was one that I won in a giveaway on Instagram that was a newer release that I did want to get to sooner rather than later, and that is The All Night Sun by Diane Zinna. I'm not going to go too much into the plot of any of these books because more likely than not I will end up more likely than not I'll end up messing them up. But this one says a lonely young woman gets too close to her charismatic female student in this propulsive debut, culminating in a dangerously debauched Midsummer's Eve. So this one sounded interesting to me, and since I won it in the giveaway, and I think it came out like last month or in August, I want to get to this one. Then I have a couple of shorter books which are going to be perfect for a week-long readathon, and that is A Record of a Night Too Brief by Hiromi Kawakami, who also wrote Strange Weather in Tokyo. I haven't read anything, I don't think I've read anything by this author yet. And then I have The Language of Thorns, Midnight Tales, and Dangerous Magic by Leigh Bardugo. This is a set of like fairy tales that's supposed to be centered in the Grishaverse, which is part of the Shadow and Bone series, which I also haven't read, something I would like to get to eventually. Then I have a young adult book that I picked up, and that is The Night Diary by Vera Anandani. I think this one might be middle grade, I'm not for sure, but this takes place when she is 12 years old, and where our main character Nisha receives a journal, and I believe it takes place in India in about the 40s. They have one classic on here, or I think this is a classic, and that's The Night Manager by John le Carre. This one, I have 2 books by this author. Also have like The Little Drummer something. I think it's called like The Little Drummer Girl, but anyways, this one, going into this one straight blind. I have no idea what this one is about. There's not even like a plot summary on this one. It says there is no one better than a good Englishman and no one worse than a bad one. So I'm interested to see what this is about. This is a beautiful edition from Penguin Classic that's designed by Coralie Bickford, which I love all her designs. The gold foiling is so beautiful. And the last one I'm planning on trying to get to during that week is called Gaudy Night by Dorothy L. Sayers. This was part of the Harper Perennial Olive collection of books, and so they all have like these similar spines to them, and I haven't read any yet with the red and black spines. I believe that this like collection was books that were supposed to be like mystery, horror, leaning towards that, so we'll see how I get on with this one. Again, I don't really know what this one is about, but it is quite a chunky book. It's the biggest one of that I'm planning on trying to get to that week, and it's over 500 pages, so maybe I can try and find this on audiobook. If not, at least maybe I can find a couple of the other ones from my library on audiobook. Then there's 2 other books that I'm planning to get to that are books that were sent to me. And the first one is Being Lolita by Alison Wood. I had mentioned this in my most anticipated releases for August, and I was able to receive a copy of this one for review. And this one is a memoir, and I believe it's following a underage relationship between a high school student and her English teacher. And then the other one I received, I think it was the author that reached out to me for this one, and it was No Presents Please by Jayant Kaikini. and this was the winner of the DSC Prize for South Asian Literature, and this one is a short story collection. I think this is the only short story collection I have on my plans for next month besides the fairy tale one. So I'm just going to run through briefly the rest of the books that I've pulled out from my shelves that are kind of calling to me to read them right now. And the first one is by Isabella Hamad. This is The Parisian, and I've had this on my shelf for way too long. I think because it's such a chunky book as well, it's also kind of put me off from reading it. And this one is over 500 pages, but I've seen there's an audiobook on Scribd for this, so I may need to restart my Scribd subscription, but we'll see. I do also have a couple of Audible credits because I forgot to cancel my subscription, so I can at least have 2 audiobooks for sure guaranteed that I want next month. This one takes place during the First World War, which I don't really read a ton of historical fiction, but this one was calling to me, and this one is kind of a different perspective in that we're following a main character who is from the Middle East, I believe from Palestine. And it's right in between, I believe, like the First and Second World War. Then we have The Dutch House by Anne Patriot. I've just heard so many good things about this book recently that I need to see for it myself, if I like it or not. I think this is like more of a quieter book. Just looking at a family, I think they live in like the country, in like a small country town, a small country house, something to do with like family secrets and stuff like that. I actually have a lot of historical fiction on my TBR, I guess, for next month, even though I didn't really plan on it, but it just happened out that way. I'm kind of in the mood for it anyway, so we'll keep going with it while I still am. The next one is The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. I remember hearing a ton about this book like a couple years ago on BookTube, and I picked it up, but I haven't gotten to it yet. I think because I was starting to hear a lot of people were saying like kind of mixed reviews, so it made me kind of put it off a little bit. This one takes place in London in the 1800s. Oh, something else I forgot to mention that I'm going to be reading for next month. So I'm kind of like officially, unofficially participating in the Femme Fantail Readathon by Jean at Jean's Bookish Thoughts. It's a readathon where people read women writing fantasy novels. There's a whole like prompts and challenges and stuff you can do with it, but for me, what I want to do this round, I just read I'm gonna forget the name of the book now, A Natural History of Dragons by Mary Brennan. Let me just make sure I said that right. Yeah, so it was book 1 in A Natural History of Dragons, which is the memoirs of Lady Trent by Mary Brennan, and I really enjoyed it. I randomly picked it up because I believe, now I'm gonna forget who, but someone had commented on one of my videos that they were reading that, and it just sounded really interesting. I had added it to my Goodreads, and my library happened to have a copy available right away, so I listened to the audiobook for that last week, and I believe there's like 5 or 6 books in this series, and so I ended up ordering all of them. I got them all secondhand from on eBay because I was trying to save money on them, and so those should be here sometime during the month of September. So I feel like, I don't know if I'm going to finish them all in September, but I'll probably get to at least 1 or 2 of them. I believe the second one is The Tropic of Serpents, and then the third one is The Voyage of the Basilisk. And I really like these books. I can see even though they're kind of like I'll be giving my review for how I felt on the first one in my wrap up for the month of August, but I really like the series. It's fantasy, but it's more about the study of the dragons. It's more about our main character than anything than about the actual dragons themselves. So don't go into this book thinking there's gonna be like a ton of action and a ton of dragon stuff in it. It's very different. It's kind of like almost like reading a classic Victorian book, but with the element of dragons being thrown in, and I like that. Another couple other classics I want to get to next month if I can is, the first one is by Zora Neale Hurston, who I've been wanting to read another, like, more work from her, and this one is Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick, and this one is short story collection too, so another one for next month. And then I also have I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. So many people have told me to read this book, and I'm really excited to get to this one. I thought it would be an appropriate time to read this book by Olivia Lang. It's The Lonely City, Adventures in the Art of Being Alone. I feel like this will be something really relatable to read right now in the times that we're living in and being on your own. I'm trying to do better at reading books not too long after I buy them, so the rest of the books that I have planned to read for the month of September are all books that I purchased this year. I'm trying not to let new books I buy sit on my shelves for too long without me reading them. So I'm just going to run through those ones really quickly. I'm not going to tell you guys like the plot or anything of them because I have mentioned them in book hauls throughout this year. So the first one is A Sky Painted Gold by Laura Wood, Dream Sequence by Adam Folds, Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, Dear Edward by Anne Napolitano, and then The Secret Woman by Sheila Williams. So that was a lot of books. Definitely I feel like more than I usually will mention in a TBR video, even though this is about how many books for the past couple months I've been getting to each month. So like I said, I'll probably be able to get some of these. Some of them I'll probably end up switching out because something else will call to me, but that's okay. So those are my reading plans for the month of September. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books, which ones you think that I should prioritize, and I'll see you guys in the next one.